Thanks. Thank you very much. Wanam bija. In my language, the Barkindji language, welcome to this great land. It is time to evolve how we profile our seafood industry into both what we do and how we work. There is an identifiable gap regarding understanding and the nature and extent of our industry, of profiling our industry. Hashtag This Could Be You is an improved strategic initiative that will help promote seafood industry opportunities as an employer of choice, growing our next generation of industry leaders. To make sure we're moving in the right direction, we needed to ensure our message aligned with the vision and mission statements that best depict the rich and vibrant opportunities across our seafood sector. Our strategy group, the All Blacks, resonated with this gap in employment linkages between the schools and the seafood industry. We are all passionate about promoting and growing employment avenues into the seafood industry. Some of the challenges we experienced whilst developing this body of work was purely based around distance. As my two colleagues who stand behind me, we have Zach on my left, a commercial fisherman who spends a lot of time at sea, or a professional fisherman, and Josh to my right, who works ungodly hours in selling and on-selling our product to the wider national and international audience. But work-life balance and getting that balance right is a big factor in developing this body of work, but also to ensure we didn't neglect our families along the way during this journey. And they were part of it. They became part of it. But having confidence in our project leader to make decisions out of session, given the pure fact of distance. And Josh stepped up to that role, and I'd like to commend Josh on the work he has actually undertaken in that space and taken on the role as project leader. Who am I? Mike Gilby. I'm a proud Barkindji man, a descendant of the freshwater people of the Darling River. Parker, river, Kimchi, people. Put them together, we have a river people. Fishing for me is a way of life. It grounds me, and most importantly, informs my traditional connection to country. I commenced working for Fisheries Victoria as an Aboriginal Policy Officer in 2010, working on the development of the then Aboriginal Fishing Strategy for the state of Victoria. This body of work was launched in 2012, and we were charged with the task of how we now go forward and implement this body of work. Leading implementation of this body of work presents its challenges, but also is an exciting experience, not just for me, but for the Indigenous people of Victoria. I also hold a position on the FRDC Indigenous Reference Group, which is a group funded by the FRDC, a group of Indigenous leaders, elders and women in forming Indigenous RD&E initiatives. Leading Indigenous engagement in RD&E across Victoria is what drives me to improve recognition and integration of Indigenous customary fishing and ecological knowledge in the management of Victoria's fisheries. Indigenous people, as we all know, have a long association and intimate connections with our saltwater and freshwater habitats. What is important to remember is that the cultural responsibilities and rights to harvest remain, and that Australia's saltwater and freshwater environments are an integral part of ongoing Indigenous connection to country and culture today. Integrating Indigenous connections through traditional ecological knowledge and harvesting techniques into industry initiatives sets a benchmark for our seafood industry as a world leader. I am driven to build skills development through job and on-the-job creation and mentoring and training opportunities across the broader sector in Victoria, but not just Victoria, nationally. In sum, to Indigenous people, fish species are linked to traditional stories and are often totemic in origin. Indigenous people have harvested saltwater and freshwater species for a millennia. We still do today. And via integrating a combination of modern and traditional harvesting techniques through showcasing Indigenous connections to species as a layer to country of origin labelling will set the benchmark for our seafood industry as a world leader. I've taken two examples. Murray cod, iconic freshwater species. Pondy, we know the Murray cod. He is our creator of all of our freshwater environments. Eels, better known in southwest Victoria as Kuyang, the leader of unfinished business to Gundi Tamara people. I'd now like to take this opportunity to hand over to my other colleagues. Josh Pearce.
Thanks, Mike. I've got the best job in the world. I moved to Australia from the world's best seafood producer in rugby playing nation. Unfortunately, Melbournians do not care a thing about rugby, which actually, after last week's result, worked in my favour. I love seafood. I love catching it, cooking it and selling it. It's probably a good thing I like selling it because I get up very early every morning to do so. But you know, it's not a job, it's a way of life. I'm Josh Pearce. I run Sanford's Wholesale Fish Market in Melbourne, also the chairman of the South East Trawler Fishing Industry Association. When I was at school, I actually attended class, there wasn't nothing much about the seafood industry. I came from a background in logistics and I stumbled into the seafood game really. But I'm stoked. It's a fantastic industry with so many great people from all walks of life. But how do we attract good people to our industry? How do we sell ourselves as not only a career path but a way of life? This is what I'm passionate about, and this is why I want to be part of the Employment Strategy Group.
I'm a professional fisher from New Zealand. I've experience in trawling, seining, long lining, set netting, potting and drag netting. I'm mad for it and keen to give everything a go. But one thing rings true with every aspect. We're the people to fill the jobs that we know are there. Mum always said as a kid, all I wanted to do was go fishing. And fishing I went. I love it. It's my life. Salt is in my blood. But where are all the other people like me? How do I find them? Or how do they find me? What's the point in spending money on leadership if there's no one to lead? That's why I chose employment, so I can find some new people to lead in the next generation of fishing.